Skepticism and inaction are your two biggest competitors. You need a system to amplify customer voices, not testimonials or case studies, a real system where customers can educate the market for you. Because in an emerging category, your buyers aren't searching for your solution. They're not comparing features, they're not shopping around on price. Most of them don't even think that the problem is worth solving. So today I'm breaking down the exact framework using real examples from real companies like Cognism. And if you're in B2B, this might be the most important marketing strategy you're not running. Let's start with why traditional marketing fails in emerging categories. When you are creating in a new space, you're not just selling a product. You are challenging someone's beliefs about the world and how it works. And their beliefs aren't going to change because of a banner ad or some white paper that you publish. They're going to change because a peer that they respect tells them, hey, I was skeptical too, but here's what I learned. That is what moves us. So here is the 5-step framework for turning your customers into category educators. Step 1 is define your credibility gap. There are 2 types of credibility gaps in emerging categories. The first is a brand gap. That means that prospects, they don't trust your company specifically. Maybe you're unknown or you're competing against a massive incumbent. This gap can be fixed with traditional trust signals, customer logos, testimonials, tons of social proof. But a category gap, the other kind, is different. This is when prospects don't trust the entire category you're trying to create. Maybe the old way works fine and your new way feels a little risky. You can't fix a category gap with brand marketing. No amount of testimonials or case studies are probably going to change someone's fundamental belief about whether an entire approach is viable. Prospects need to hear from other peers that were skeptical too, and that, they learned something that changed their mind. So why it works. That's why customer voices matter. They can say things that our brands can't. They can be vulnerable in ways that we never can. And prospects trust them in ways they'll never trust you. How Cognism did it. Cognism sells B2B sales intelligence data, and their brand credibility was solid. They had super strong compliance and accurate data, but they faced a big category gap. In the late 2010s, early 2020s, on the heels of GDPR, the entire B2B world was questioning if outbound still worked anymore. The problem wasn't whether Cognism's data was accurate. The problem was whether the entire approach was still viable. Step 2, identify your key message. Once you know that you have a category gap, you need to isolate the specific belief that is holding that market back. So let's complete this sentence. If we could change one belief across our entire target market, it would be blank. That's your key message. And every customer voice that you amplify should reinforce that one singular point. Why it works. A focused key message compounds. Every story reinforces the same belief shift, and ultimately it makes your category more credible. How they did it. For Cognism, the key message was simple. It was that sales professionals are still winning with outbound. The team created a podcast called Why Did It Fail? And the format was super simple. Sales pros would come on and talk about the deals that fell through, the strategies that didn't quite land, and the campaigns that maybe missed the mark. The podcast isn't promoting Cognism's data, it's just validating that failure is normal, that everyone struggles now and then, and that the path to success is totally learnable. So each episode proves that the category isn't broken. You just need to learn the right approach. Step 3, choose your format. Don't ask, should we start a podcast? Instead, ask, what format lets our customers educate their peers at scale? Maybe the answer is episodic shows like a podcast or a video series, or tutorials or walkthroughs, or public discussions at conferences or on webinars. Or maybe it's co-marketing, where 1 + 1 = 3. The key is spreading the word at scale, so that's reach and repeatability. Why it works. The format follows the strategy here. The worst thing that you can do is choose a format because maybe it's the hot thing of the year or because you don't mind doing it. Your ICP already has consumption habits. They're already learning somewhere, so your job is to figure out where and then meet them where they are, not force them to adapt some new habit. How they did it. Cognism chose podcasting because sales professionals listen during commutes and between meetings and maybe while they're doing some admin work. The audio format fit naturally into their existing routines. Plus, the audio-only format created this psychological safety where guests were more willing to be vulnerable about their failure stories because it wasn't caught on camera. That authenticity made the content even more powerful. Step 4, structure it so everyone wins. The fastest way to undercut customer voice amplification is making it feel super self-promotional. Every stakeholder has to genuinely benefit here, and honestly, your audience should benefit the most. Why it works. Misaligned incentives will kill participation. If guests feel like they're just used for marketing, they won't be authentic. If the listeners smell a sales pitch, they aren't going to engage. But when everyone genuinely wins, the system becomes a self-sustaining organism. People want to participate, listeners want to share, and that flywheel spins and spins. This isn't altruism, it's a strategy. So how they did it. Cognism structured their podcast so that every stakeholder got real value. Guests get a safe place to process those failures and learn. They get to build their professional brand, and they get to connect with peers. Listeners get super practical, intimate lessons from others' mistakes, and they get validation that struggle is normal. They get proof that the category works. Step 5, commit to the timeline. Most teams just quit too early because they expect immediate ROI. Define what success looks like at different time horizons. And be brutally honest about what good means in months 3, 6, 12, 24. Why it works. Category belief shifts take time. You're trying to change what an entire market believes is possible. How they did it. The Cognism team is only now, after 3 years of running this podcast, beginning to evaluate it against numerical success metrics. 3 years. That timeline should be pretty sobering for us if we use quarterly campaigns and annual budgets as guideposts. This isn't a short-term pipeline play. So here's my biggest insight about all of this. Customer voice amplification isn't really about the podcast or the format or the metrics. It's about value. When you systematically amplify customer voices, you are saying the people using this product in the real world understand it better than we do. So let's learn from them together. Cognism's podcast doesn't say, well, buy our sales intelligence products. It says, let's all get better at sales together. So once you give your customers a platform to educate their peers, you're not just competing for marketing share anymore. You are building a movement. And that's something that traditional marketing can never buy. If you want the full written breakdown of this framework with all of the tactical pieces included, I've got a link in the description to my newsletter called First to Market. It is totally free and it comes out weekly, so subscribe for more playbooks like this. Thanks so much.